Time management mastery, how to get half your time back and 100% of your sanity in how you're running your business, team, and life. Well, I take these lives as an opportunity to take real world consulting that I do for people who pay me a lot of money, and to bring takeaways and real live examples for your value. Anything for the return on investment for your time and your mental energy, to do a lot more of what you love with the people that you love, because that's why I believe why your business and your job is here. And anything we can do to have more of that, that's what I believe that life's precious gift is. Well, in today's one, I want to speak into time management and grief. And I've had some clients go through this to where people are passing or people very sick, right? It happens to everyone. And I also want to speak into my own personal experience in a little about the last year and a half on the importance of having the right time management systems and business processes for it. So, and over the past year and a half, had a couple companies that we launched and helped get successful. And then I left the operation. One of those went down, that was big. Dad passed, very big. Probably my first actual experience with death and family. And that was sudden. Relationship ending, which is really big, a partnership that I really loved, enjoyed, and wanted to work out. Then had a home in Boston that I was running that ended up selling. So I had to make the decision of moving that community. So we all go through loss, and just felt it got compounded, just compounded in this short area. So what does time management and having the right processes in place for your business, team, and life actually have to do with that? Well, when you're experiencing grief, when you're experiencing loss, in mine, what was nice to be able to minimize things that I actually needed to do for work and other things so that I could actually focus on dealing with the grief. Number one, to be able to get on an airplane, to go be with family, to go be with those things. You not only just want to have the time, you also want to have the presence to be with your loved ones, to actually be there. I remember Tony Robbins saying, people who are the most unfulfilled are the ones who can't be away from their business for more than 3 or 4 days without being stressed out. When you're dealing with something like death and that stress, you want to go be with the people, not just with your time, but with the mental energy. And you don't want to have to be thinking about when you need to be back. Now, there's another important thing that happens. A lot of people are working at capacity, they're at time and mental capacity, right? So an in comes a life event where when you go through death or a major project in your life, you need to have the structure and the flexibility to bring in that project. And even if you have a family member where things were truly where the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted, when you go through a passing away with your estates and your trusts, though 80% of people don't, and it ends up being a total shit show, the amount of things that you need to do that just got thrown into you are weeks and weeks of hours for you and the family to do, let alone to handle while your mental capacity for this event just greatly diminished and went down, right? So one, you got to be able to have things run well without you. And this includes if you're on a small business team. This isn't just about the owner. This is every member of you and your team and your family and what's happening. You got to be adaptable and scalable, because everyone's going to get sick. Everyone's going to die. Everyone needs to take a vacation. Everyone wants that time off. This is why you need simple things in place that allow you to be adaptable AF and scalable AF. You get that dialed in. And so it was nice to be able to fly home. And I ended up staying home for, I don't know, it was a few weeks. And I just stayed there until we buttoned things up the best that we could. And then the following Christmas, I wanted to stay home a lot longer. And then my mom, after having my dad pass, where they were married for 53 years, her next best friend passed right before Christmas. I wanted to go, I flew home early for that. That just happened. That family mattered to me, right? And wanted to be there for that, and stayed home until the last minute on New Year's Eve. And then I just wanted to fly back to Boston to be with my partner. I missed that as well. So for you to have, if you're overwhelmed, that means you're at mental capacity. If you don't have the time and you're working thing, that means you're at time capacity. Like, how are you going to keep handling these events? How are you going to handle actually being there with your time for your loved ones and also for the presence? And this has also shown up a lot in the last year around other friends and colleagues of mine who have gone through grief in different ways. I've been able to hop on an airplane to be there with them. I'm like, you want me out there? I'll be out there in a couple days. I'll stay with you for a handful of days. Like, what do you need from me? That's called flexibility. That's called freedom, because it's not just a matter of being there for yourself. It's also the gift of being able to be there for other people. And if you don't have time capacity and you don't have mental capacity with how you're currently running things, you can't not only be there for the most important person, which is you, but also for the ones that you love. And there are easy barometers to check in your life to say, how is my current time capacity? Am I always working more than 40 hours a week? But more importantly, am I overwhelmed? Are you overwhelmed with all the inboxes you got to deal with? Are you overwhelmed with all the information that you have to manage? Are you overwhelmed with all the scheduling, but more importantly, the projects and tasks? That is a huge thing. And you add probably 20 to 100 more things into it. Do you even know how to manage that with your team? Do you even have a business playbook? Which 100% of the time, out of the hundreds and hundreds of people that I have ran a complimentary audit on, which takes under 15 minutes, by the way, none of them have a playbook. Most of them are managing most of the world in their head, or they're out of their head, and it's just chaos, and they don't know how to keep track of it. I don't think society is going to change anytime soon to where you get everyone's work week down to 20 or 30 hours max. It's just not. We're in a city, we're in a society where a lot of overwhelm and work is there. And you do need to work sometimes 60, 80 hours a week in the beginning of stages when you're building your business or as things adapt and things attract. But if you don't have a system, one, if you're managing most of the world from your head, you're toast, you're dead. That's overwhelmed. That's 90% of this small business's failure. Like, you're just done. And if it's out of your head and you don't know how to track it all, and you're always wondering if things are like falling through the cracks, and you're consistently wondering and thinking, did this get handled, or you're trying to develop your own system to keep the loops around it, like what I tried to do for 5 years and could have solved in under 2 weeks, like when I finally hired the right people. Not only are you burning 500 to 1,000 hours every year, that's the burning of your mental processing, but that's the thing that's in your way that's not allowing you to have the time and mental freedom to go be with the things that actually matter most in life. And you can set up yourself for mini retirements. I'm a firm believer to waiting till you're 62 to retire has got to be one of the dumbest fucking things in the world. Because one, your energy, where's your youth? You're going to go hike certain mountains with huge backpacks on? No. Are you even going to be alive? Who even knows what's going to happen with the economic environment? You can set up your life so you take mini retirements consistently all the effing time. I'm talking having the capacity to take 3 to 6 months off every year. But even if you're taking like 1 to 2 months off, having the extra Friday off, taking some times off, like even to take a month or two off to go be with the ones that you love. And when you have these things in place, your capacity to take on those new projects and things is so easy because you have such a solid structure and you know how to onboard massive amounts of new things to do in simple systems to track it all and to drive it forward. It just helps a lot. Ton. So if there's anyone that you like, or maybe it's you, maybe it's your business team, and you're overwhelmed and you don't know how to keep these things together. Like maybe it's something as simple as like your email is just a shit show. Maybe it's like your 10 to 20 other inboxes. Maybe it's your team communication. You don't know how to keep it together. Maybe you got PTSD from that. Maybe it's like how you're managing all these projects and tasks. Maybe you're in paper only. Maybe you have no clue. Maybe you've been trying to do all these SOPs and all these things and all these roles and recurring responsibilities. You don't even know how to keep that together. You can literally learn how to save at least half of your time in your overwhelm in under 2 weeks. Think about that. Think about that return on investment for your time. And if you've got a business, you got employees, for the money, but also for the mental energy, the fact that you're not going to accelerate your aging process with the little time that you have off anyhow, but now you're working from a place of overwhelm and stress. So you're accelerating your space to the grave when you're doing that, right? Like, what's the point of that? So, does anyone you know, it's easy to run free diagnostics. It takes 15 minutes. 15 minutes could save you 500 or 1,000 hours a year more. That's where the gift is. So that's you. Feel free to hit us up, but it matters. I'm a firm believer that your time on this earth is the most precious asset that you have, period. And it gets to be spent infinitely more doing what you love with the people that you love.